Okay, so I thought I would maybe just do a quick video here of my symptoms with my endometriosis. My purpose of this video is to maybe help anyone who isn't sure if what they are feeling is endometriosis, because mainstream does not really help you understand what all endometriosis can affect, and I don't think I've actually ever talked about exactly what all endometriosis has affected. I've given hints to some things, I've talked about some like really obvious things, but there are lots of like little things that people don't realize that that's endometriosis related. And I'm not one to necessarily talk about my symptoms all the time to everybody. I just tend to live life and I don't like tell everyone everything that's going on. Um, Usually I only give about 25% of what I'm actually going through physically, um, for various reasons. So let's jump right into it. And I will have linked below my endometriosis playlist. I'll put it in a little card, one of these, up here. I think it's the left side. Up here to that playlist. And then I will also link throughout or post in those little iCards, that little eye that you see up there. If you click that, that'll take you to different videos that I've done pertaining to my endometriosis. Okay, so I guess I could start with in the beginning. In high school is probably when my endometriosis started. I got my period at a really young age. I think I was the first in class to get mine. That's not always the case if you have endometriosis. That is just my story. Then in high school, late high school, I had lots of back pain. And as I look back on it now, I'm pretty sure it was endometriosis related. That the pain I was feeling, there was no injury, I did play soccer, but I never injured myself in a way that would constitute the amount of back pain I was in. Just to give you an idea, my senior year in high school, I was on muscle relaxers for a while and going to chiropractic care because the pain was so intense. And it was cyclical, so that means it would only happen around the times of my period. And so my periods were always pretty severe. I always had pretty strong periods. In college is when it started to affect me. To a point where I had to make some decisions for my health. I had a cyst burst my freshman year of college. I did not know what that was at the time, and so I ended up going to the hospital because I thought my appendix was bursting because it was in that general area. And from that point on, I could always feel myself ovulating. I always had pain from that. That was when I started getting past cyclical endometriosis pain. I would have pain leading up to ovulating. When I would ovulate, I would be in extreme pain, and then it would take about a week for that pain to kind of simmer down, and then I would go into PMS pain. And that kind of lasted through my college years. I ended up going on birth control to kind of help manage that because I was not informed as well on my endometriosis and what it was and how to help it better. And so I was on birth control since, I'm pretty sure it was my freshman year of college. I think it was my freshman year. I don't think it was my senior year of high school. I think it was freshman year of high school. Or college. So then you fast forward, I graduate, I get married, we start having babies then, and then from then on out, it was kind of this influx of stuff depending on whether or not I was nursing. Post twins, I got pregnant on birth control with Bella, and then with the twins, I was only off birth control for a month, I think, and I got pregnant with them. And then once I was done with them, I went on the pill again. No, I went on the Mirena, had an ovarian cyst burst again, passed out from that pain. I kind of just had that normal cyclical kind of, as hormones would rise, pains would rise type of stuff. The pains were cramping, but it was cramping in other spots than just my uterus, like period cramps. And so that type of pain that you feel in your uterus, I was feeling in my gut area. Um, and I would say after the twins was when it started moving to my bowels. I then got off the Mirena, went on another birth control pill that was working really well. Then we decided to get pregnant with Liam. So with me and most people with endometriosis goes dormant when you are pregnant. And so when I was pregnant with Liam, didn't have any symptoms. Was nursing him, and it was pretty symptom free, I would say, for most of that time. And then as he started weaning himself, that was when my symptoms started going crazy, to the point where I was noticing my birth control was not cutting it anymore, that I was having massive symptoms all the time. And those symptoms were that period type cramping pain, but all over. Having bowel movements was very, very difficult. And my bowel movements themselves were fine. It was the act of them moving through my gut and my intestines was very painful. Bloating, I have lots of bloating now. So like I'll wake up in the morning, and if I'm not having an endo flare, my stomach will be flat. And if I go through the day and my endo starts flaring, I will look 4-ish months pregnant, and my stomach will be hard to the touch. I don't eat much because my belly feels full. And so I'm just super bloated, like to the max. Another symptom was that I always showed really quickly in my pregnancies. And the reason for that, like literally I would get pregnant and within a week, my belly would be pushing out, with every pregnancy, my first to my last. And the reason for that is that my doctor said that it appears that my uterus is actually attached to my abdominal wall from adhesions, so that's scar tissue essentially, from the endometriosis being there, and that it's just formed scar tissue that's attached my uterus to my abdominal wall. So I would get pregnant, and instead of my uterus kind of growing in my pelvic cavity and in my abdominal cavity, it couldn't because it was attached to my stomach, so it would push out. And so that's why I look so pregnant so quickly, and probably why I got so big with my pregnancies pretty quickly, and that type of thing. Acne has always been an issue for me. I have shooting pain in my hips and in my sciatic nerve. It feels like it goes down to my leg if the endo's really bad and really flaring, to the point where I can't really walk. My leg will go numb. I can't feel it anymore. And my hips are actually, like my bones actually hurt when you touch them. Above my belly button, in the middle of my stomach, hurts. I'm assuming there's endo up there, and so when I have an endo flare, it feels like my muscles are ripping apart up there. So that's another thing. I'm trying to think other things that are symptoms that I might not talk about. I'm exhausted from it, because my body is constantly dealing with so much physical pain. I'm drained physically and even mentally. I'm drained. My body just can't catch a break, and so I'm just pretty tired all the time. And I go into this, I don't try to do this, it's just who I am, that when I'm out with people and talking, and even here, I tend to just ignore my pain. It's like my body forgets that I'm in pain so much, and then I come home and I stop acting normal and I just crash. I don't know how to explain it. It's not like I'm trying to hide it per se. It's almost like I don't want to miss out or be a burden or something. I don't know. I'm honestly not like trying to pretend like there's nothing going on. I wish I could show how horrible I feel sometimes so that people would believe like how horrible I'm feeling. But like it just switches for some weird reason, and people are like, but you don't look that sick. And I'm like, come home with me, I guess. I don't know. My husband sees it. He sees me feeling like crap all the time and laying in bed, and my kids see it too. But yeah, I've had to start making decisions to not do things because I know that when I get out, I have a hard time not doing what I would normally do because I literally forget that I'm in a lot of pain. I tend to ignore it. My brain just ignores it. And I don't feel it until I get back home, and then I am laid up. So, I'm trying to think if there's any other. I should have had a list. Brain fog, real smart of you not to make a list of symptoms. So obviously these aren't the only symptoms you can have. Depending on where your endometriosis has been will also greatly determine what hurts in you and how you're affected by it. So endometriosis is a very personal disease. And so you may have some, none, different symptoms at all if you have endometriosis. But I kind of just wanted to put it out there so that if you've been diagnosed with like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and have done all these different like tests to figure out why you're all bloated all the time or why certain foods affect you but you don't have intolerances or anything like that, that maybe it's something completely different that you weren't even thinking of. And that it can happen slowly or it can happen very quickly, the way that endometriosis affects you. I've heard of people who literally had no symptoms until they were like 34, and then bam, it hit them, and they were incapacitated. It was not gradual at all. And then obviously if you've been on birth control, that will affect how your endometriosis grows. So yeah, I would love for you all to tell me your story below if you are dealing with endometriosis or if you think that might be something. I will have lists of different things that are helpful in the description that have helped me kind of be a better advocate for my health, because sadly most gynecologists are not up to date on most of the new findings on endometriosis. And there's a lot of misguided media coverage on it that isn't telling the whole story or isn't giving correct information. So there's lots of misinformation about endometriosis out there. So yeah, let me know. I want to know, I want us to help each other in this, that I don't want us to be silent about it, but to kind of talk about it and get the word out. So let me know. I hear my little one coming. You're hungry. Oh, obviously endometriosis did not affect my fertility, but for some people it does.
I'm hungry.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later.